Hey, 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 good Monday morning to all my Facebook fans out there. It is, let me check the date here, Monday, October the 21st, and we're off to a brand new week. Oh my goodness, the third week in October. Carolyne Rodrigues coming to you from Collingwood, Ontario. Hey Casey, nice to see you. What's the weather doing like there? It's a little frosty in the air today, but the sun's coming out, so I hear it's going to be a fabulous voting day. So for those of you in Canada, make sure you take time to vote. It's your right. And I heard somebody say, we don't have the right to complain if we don't take the right to vote, right? So do something about that. I'm going to go vote right after this. So if you're tuning in live time, say hello where you're tuning in from. I'm coming to you from my Carolyne Rodrigues coach page. And if you're tuning in replay time, hashtag replay, and please do tell me, what you got out of this time that we're going to spend together. So today, I'm going to talk about, is your business, is your life, whatever it is you're taking on, is it more like a sprint or a marathon? This weekend, I had the opportunity to drive to the heart of the city in Toronto. Oh my goodness. I'm really glad I live where I live. The traffic was unreal. To get from the airport to Midtown took 2 hours and 15 minutes. Now, what I didn't know was that the Scotiabank Marathon was taking place, so they had closed off all these streets. So I thought, rather than complain about the fact that it's taking me so long, I just sat and watched these people who were committed to taking on a marathon, 26 miles, running 26 miles. And I'm like, wow, I was really impressed at how people were dressed and the technique and the look on their faces, and I'm like, what does it take for somebody to commit to run a marathon? Sprints are easy, right? You do a 100-yard dash and boom, it's finished, it's over. Yeah, you can train for it, for speed and for but running a marathon is the whole endurance piece. So I thought about this. How does that concept apply to life, business, your career? Are you a marathoner or are you a sprinter? One is over in the flash of an eye, and the other takes real commitment. And most long distance runners, they pace themselves. I was watching them, looking at their little devices, checking times. I could hear people's, beeps of people who were, their little device was talking to them. Part of the race, from what I understand, I've never run a marathon, but I have done a 5K and a 10K, is the first half seems, you got the energy, the stamina, the endurance. It's in that second half of the race that allows people to finish strong. So marathoners, they know how to conserve their energy. They know how to deal with the lows. They know when I've heard this phrase, when they're hitting the wall, what to do, which are really, those are important markers to know how to power through and get through to finish the race. Whereas, as I mentioned, sprinters, short, quick burst of energy. So preparing for a marathon as a runner, I think it's a similar process to preparing for a long, successful, whatever it is you're taking on, a side hustle, a career, a business venture, a project in your life. So staying in the game requires a strong foundation. Hear me okay? Because I keep getting a connection. My connection is not too strong. Just give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Okay, I'm in the back end of the house, so sometimes my internet doesn't work so well. So getting back on track. Staying in the game requires a strong foundation, knowing why you're doing it, and having a willingness to adapt to the changes, right? Nothing runs perfectly in life. And I don't know, Maybe for you it does, but for me, I found there are highs and there are lows. There are dips and there are valleys. There are mountains. There are, all these kinds of things. And how do we move past the highs, and how do we make sure, rather move past the lows, and how do we make sure that we don't let the high get us so high that when the valley comes, we're, like, oh my God, what happened, right? So you have to tweak things, you have to adjust things, you have to make time to what I call course correct. And I think the worst habit that a lot of people have is this instant gratification. If it's not working, I'm moving on, right? And that to me indicates that you don't have a real strong foundation and you don't know why you're doing what you're doing. You get swayed by whatever is happening here, those squirrel moments. So this is the time of year I feel I take the time to sit down. The weather is changing. It's more indoor activity. Take time to evaluate what's really working. Why is it working? What changes do you need to make to finish the year strong? And I started thinking about this the other day. I'm just not finishing the year strong. This is the decade. I'm finishing the decade. We're starting a new decade. So this is going to take a little more reflection on my part in terms of where was I when I started 2010? Where am I as 2019 is finishing? And how do I want to start? Oh my God, 2020. All right, so I wrote down some points, right? How to finish the year strong. Checking into, in my business, what we call daily DMO, daily method of operation. What am I doing? Looking at my schedule. Oh, I left my schedule on in my kitchen. So, having a schedule. Like, some people don't have a schedule. They're very reactive about how things happen. And guess what? You get that kind of an outcome, right? So having a schedule, looking at your schedule, like as I mentioned, do you have one? And if you have one, are you following it, right? Are you writing things down? Last week, I missed an appointment with my trainer because I was coming out of the gym. I said, let's meet to do our, my body fat index, all that kind of stuff. And I didn't put it in my schedule. And guess what? On that day, she's texting me, are you coming in? And I'm like, oops, I forgot to write it down. And so I find if I don't write it down, it just in one ear and out the other, right? So what's on your schedule? Time to work. For me, time to work, time to exercise, time to, reflect. I start that in the morning. My gratitude's in the evening. Time for you. Some people say, I want to have my own business because I want time freedom. And all they do is work, work, work. So Friday afternoons, I schedule in something fun, right? It's a reward for the week's effort. And I guess if you didn't put in any effort during the week, maybe you shouldn't be celebrating on Fridays, right? So make sure that when you draw out your little circle, that you've got time for family, time for friends, time for work, time for you, time to exercise, time for how much time. Sundays are my day of rest, right? I don't entertain working on Sundays. So look at that wheel and see how balanced or not balanced it is, right? The second thing is, if you're in business, and my husband used to say this to me in my previous business, he goes, you don't have a business, you have a hobby because you're not making any money. You're just spending money. And I'm like, oh, okay. So you got to know the numbers, right? How much, and he said to me, how much money do you want to earn? I was like, ew, okay, nobody asked me that. And so my number was, I wanted to replace my flight attendant income, right? And then how much time are you willing to invest to get to that goal? Right? So what do you need to change if you're taking on a side hustle business, venture, whatever it is? It could be volunteer work, right? How are you going to fit all these things into, most people already have a really busy life, right? So for me, when I started my plan B, I knew what my goal was, my income goal. And that was my yearly goal. And I was like, whoa, that's a year away. How do I get from here to 365 days away? So I learned this from my husband. Every successful business has, yearly, 6-month, quarterly, and monthly goals. So I thought, okay, that's great. But now what do I do daily? So I had to take that monthly goal and break it down into a weekly, then a daily task goal. What was I going to do today to create the goal outcome I want? That's on my computer, right? So you got to know those markers, you guys. Otherwise, time goes by and you start to say, oh, this isn't working. But you really have to look at what you're doing that wasn't working. And I was talking to a gal in the gym today and she goes, oh, your business is not for me. I tried that. And so if I really sat down with her and broke down what it was she did, the effort people put in doesn't equate the goal outcome. And so we throw away the vehicle that we believed was going to bring us that success because we didn't really look at what we were doing. So for me, it was important for me to know, what am I doing and what is it producing? The other thing that's part of the sprint, the marathon, this whole notion of being an entrepreneur is adding value, right? So what value are you showing people with your product or your service? Or are you just trying to sell somebody something, right? Because it's a very competitive market out there and so easy for people to compare. So my job is to provide value to you. So when you partner with me, you're partnering with me. You're partnering this product. I'm part of the service, right? So just remember that. And I also love to to recommend other people, right? So I like to partner with other people and see what incentives can we do together. And I love promoting other people and elevating them so that they can succeed. I referred my trainer to a new gym in town, and because I think she's great, and they hired her. She's now the head honcho there, right? So it'll come back to you. So promote other people, show people value both for yourselves and, if someone's done a good turn for you, do something nice for them. Take them for a coffee, send them a little gift card, send them a note, right? Let somebody know how you positively impacted them or how their business has impacted you, right? That's the energy exchange that I talk about. All right. Couple things as we're approaching the end of the year and you're evaluating, because December's too late, you guys. We're like really busy and stuff happens and it's like, whoa, how did 2020 show up? So you want to look at the habits that you have. How are they creating results? So to finish the year strong, and I know people are like, well, it's October, right? But it takes me a little longer than maybe other people in doing that evaluation because I like to sit and contemplate. So to finish the year strong, I want to look at, what are my habits? What am I doing to produce the result that I'm looking for? What changes do I need to make? How am I approaching people? What do people think of me? You can do a little survey. What do people think of you? I saw that on Facebook somewhere. How many people like you and how many people don't like you? Whatever. Like everyone was getting the same result. So I thought, yeah, those are just gimmicks, right? Ask people. Sit down and say, you know what? I'd really like to know. Could you share with me, what are the things you like about me? What are the things that, I could do better? It's really important to be proactive in terms of taking action. And this is not a whole getting started on a New Year's thing soon where everybody makes those huge lists. It's like, what one or two things can you tweak or change that are going to set you up to finish the year strong the way you said you wanted to do, the goals you wrote down in at the beginning of 2019 that will propel you into the next decade. Woo! Okay, so the other thing I was talking about, that this part of this, what am I going to do differently? And I fall out of this, you guys. It's doing, first things first, right? Stephen Covey talked about that, and Brian Tracy wrote the book, Eat the Frog. So what are the things that you don't like to do? Get them done at the beginning of the day. And I'll tell you guys, exercise was something that I just didn't embrace it. So I knew I had to do it first thing in the morning. So, I just came back from the gym. You like my shirt? It says happiness is the best makeup. So I just have my stuff out ready to go. I want to go to my yoga class. And so I get that done and it sets me up for the day and I feel good, right? Replying to Cindy. Okay, so Cindy was saying something. I'm sorry, you guys, I can't always read the feed as it's going along, so I will comment later on, right? So I have to look at my time management, my organization, what things am I committing to, how flexible I am. I have to, I like to build in some flexibility because sometimes I commit to things and I'm learning the word. No, I'm sorry, I can't do that, right? Because when you commit to too many things, you stretch too thin and you become this stressed out monster. And I don't like that, right? So pick one or two things that you can change that are going to help you get to where you want to go. Okay, and talking about those goals, there's nothing worse than setting those, unrealistic goals that lead to disappointment, that lead to, you quitting on what it is you said you wanted to do. So I know when I first started, I said, I'm going to work out 5 days a week. Well, I hadn't even worked out 1 day a week, right? So I committed, I changed that. I go, I'm going to work out 1 day a week and I'm going to work out for 20 minutes. That's how I started. That was 5 years ago when I embarked on the idea of bringing exercise into a regular part of my daily regime. And so it's not an issue for me now. I've built the habit that I put my clothes out at night. I know what class I'm going to. I know what time I have to be in the gym. I know what time I have to be dressed. I'm out the door first thing in the morning, and I am now working out 3 to 5 times a week, and it's not an effort. So it takes time to build that habit and get to that goal, because when you write down all these goals, it looks good on paper, but the most important thing is looking at those goals. Are you committing to them, and are you working them? And are they producing the result that you want? Because progress, however you say it, builds momentum, and that builds enthusiasm. So now I am enthusiastic about exercising, right? So remember, goals, they're just guidelines, guideposts, markers to help you see that you're making making progress. Just fix my teeth. All right. So the next thing I want to chat with you about, the next little tip is to make sure that you have a mentor and a support system. I mean, I tag team with people on Facebook. I comment. I ask for accountability. Accountability is huge for me because I know that when I'm accountable to somebody, I'm more likely to get things done. So I know, I don't know about you, and some people are better off working alone. I don't like that. I said even the Lone Ranger had Tonto, right? So I believe that we succeed when we all work together versus, just off on our own. And the most successful people I know in my business have a support team around them, have a mentor, somebody they can rely on, somebody they can tap into. And the important part of this, and specifically what I do, is building community, because people want and need that sense of belonging, because there's so many of us working from home. I'm in an office here by myself. The water cooler conversation is kind of one-sided. So, that's what I love about Facebook. I can build an online community of support, but I also need that, right? So reach out to people that are doing what you that you admire and that are doing the things that you want to do, and touch base with them and, ask them for some tips. Ask them if you can check in with them one time. I have a mastermind group that I've been invited to be part of this mastermind group of women from all walks of life, and I'm so excited. But that came as a result of being in service, to this particular lady who then invited me to be part of her mastermind group. So I can't wait to, meet all these wonderful women. Hey, Karen, nice to see you. And I'm sorry, you guys, if I haven't acknowledged you as you popped on. The other thing that I find in business is, there are people who are very cutthroat and competitive. And I'm competitive with myself, right? That's it. My competition is who's looking back at me. So share your knowledge. That's part of what I do here every Monday. Leadership is about contribution and sharing. Hey, Margaret, there's someone who's been a mentor for me. She's an amazing coach and really helped me get started in this enterprise. So Hats off to you, Margaret. I really appreciate you. So, sharing, contributing, using your experience and your wisdom to educate and inspire others, because that's how I've got to where I am today, is listening to other people, being inspired by what other women are doing that I wanted to achieve, right? So get out of the competition game and get into collaboration. And one of my favorite mentors, Bob Proctor, he taught well, I say he taught me this. He taught this concept, right? If the pie is this big and there's this many people, we're all competing for this pie. He said, make a bigger pie, because competition, I never win when I'm in competition with somebody else, right? I want everybody to win. I really believe in the concept of collaboration. All right, and the last couple of points I wanted to share with you guys as I finish up here is, first things first, as I mentioned, committing to my health. Yeah, committing to my health and well-being. And as a flight attendant, we say this former flight attendant, we used to say this all the time, right? When the oxygen mask drops, you got to put that mask on yourself first before you can help anybody else. If I didn't put that oxygen mask on, I couldn't help any of my passengers. So the same thing in life. And I'm saying this, you guys, because I've lived it. You, and I'm pointing at you, right? And I'm pointing at me. Without our mental, emotional, and spiritual health and well-being, we cannot live the God-given potential that we were put on this earth to do. So many people are in adrenal burnout because they're burning the candles at both ends and they're not paying attention to this vehicle. This comes first, you guys, okay? Oh, I'm a little bit hot, so I have the heater on this comes first. Look, all right, I gotta build the pipes. I gotta stay strong, because I know as I get older, one of the challenges that women have is that we fall, right? Because our bodies aren't strong. So I'm committed to doing the push-ups, to doing the burpees, to doing the, what are those, squats, right? Because when you fall, you want to be able to get up, right? So without that, without this strong foundation and this strong foundation, I can't do anything else, right? The best personal commitments that you can make is to be the healthiest person that you can be, which is why I, in my side hustle business, I partner with a health and wellness company, because that's that's one of my highest values. Okay. All right, I'm on a roll. So, where am I? I just wanted to share a couple things with you. And the very last one is always, I'm just, because this is the stuff I have to work on, and that is showing your gratitude and your heart to others. Nothing makes a bigger impact or is more memorable than someone's authentic self, right? When you do things, when you give, you're giving without any strings attached. You're giving because it makes you feel good. I love to cook, and what makes my heart sing is when I know there's someone in need and they're not well, I love to cook for them. That makes my heart happy. And that's such an easy gift to give somebody. So a good friend of mine has just gone through some eye surgery, and I was thrilled to be able to make her dinner for a week and take her some fun stuff, because her husband doesn't cook, right? And she's just an amazing cook. So I've appreciated when she's come over to my place with some beautiful food. And so this was my way of giving back to her. So lead with your best qualities, your ideas, your actions, your thoughts, right? Lead from here and get to know what your best assets are and use them for your greatest good. Because when we all touch people with kindness, with caring, with help, with energy, when we're doing our best to fulfill, what's in here, our greatest purpose, that's all there is, you guys. Every day we have unlimited possibility to serve and to do good. So, if you're running a marathon, I encourage you to incorporate some of these ideas that I shared with you. And if this has been valuable to you and you're in a group and you hear of other people expressing some frustration about things, and you heard something here today, feel free to post my Facebook Live there and share it with people, because I think, we all have so much to give to each other. So with that, you guys, have a magical Monday. I'm so grateful for those of you who tune in and who comment and participate, and I'll see you back here next Monday with another topic, hopefully of interest to you. So connect with me, CarolynRodrigues.com, if you want to have a conversation with me one-on-one, Carolyne, Rodrigues with an S, and go make it a great day, a great week. Bye-bye.